My name is Daniel Johnson, founder of Daniel Johnson Group. I'm an investor and also a champion of growth. One of the things in terms of what investors look for in any deal or any business startup is, first, what we look to do is to try and understand who is the individual. How can that individual, and really what's that individual's background, what's their values, what's their lifestyle? I mean, these are some of the important things in terms of what I want to try and understand from an individual, because really what I'm trying to ascertain is how much of that conviction is going to come through from the individual for that idea, for that startup. So really getting an idea in terms of that conviction, because ultimately at the end of the day, that individual is going to be the one. As an investor, certainly we're going to help and be able to provide that person some of the collateral or some of the advice or whatever it might well be to be able to really go forward with that idea. But I want to know what conviction this person has, what conviction you're going to be able to bring to the market and go out there and sell it. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, it's your idea, and we want to be able to help you excel from your idea. The other thing that we look for is what it's going to be, is what's in the business plan. So we want to understand what the path to profitability is going to look like. What's the business structure? What business structure do we need? Okay, so what sort of resources? Where is the business being set up? Really, what required resources we need? What's the proximity of where you are to the actual market? So when we look at these sort of type of deals, we also want to try and understand what sort of capital is required. So what's the term? What's the term in terms of how long do we need to invest? How long is it going to be until we get to a sense of profitability? So also, really as an investor, we want to understand in terms of what's our percentage of this investment as well. And then what other needs is the business looking for? So do we need to be able to try and get in other resources to be able to get this idea off the ground? The third thing in terms of what investors like myself look for is, and really wanting to understand, is what's your niche zone? Is this product something that's basically going to disrupt the market? Is it something like Velcro? Is it something that the market didn't really understand that they needed until they were actually given this product or service or whatever it might well be? We want to understand in terms of what those things are, because really, once we get the idea in terms of understanding what is that niche zone, because there's no point bringing out a product that someone else is already rocking at, because without knowing how we're going to be able to market that, how we're going to be able to excel and bring that market to really dominate that sector, it becomes a very difficult thing. Because my point is that when you're really looking to bring in a product or service that someone else is already dominating in that space, we're just going to be throwing lots and lots of money into that space to be able to try and compete with that other individual. So really knowing down in terms of what that niche zone is certainly going to be an important part in terms of what an investor is going to look like. Now, this can also apply to an existing business. So as an investor, I look to invest into businesses that have been around for a long period of time. So whether that be a takeover or whether we amalgamate it into our other businesses, one of the things that I want to understand is really what does this business do that other people in the market aren't doing? And how can we actually go to excel that to be able to really dominate that space? Now, if we don't know what that niche zone is, certainly we'll spend the time, and before I even go into if we don't know what that niche zone is, certainly we'll go and spend the time to be able to understand how we can actually develop that. Because once we develop that, that to me is going to be the success and push this and basically springboard the company through to where I want to get it to, which is profitability.